Hello everybody, Storm here. Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Online Shadowbringers. In the last episode, we got guided to the illuminated land, as the Ondo described it, and upon arriving at the location that they indicated, we were treated to a view of a city. A full-on, legit city with skyscrapers and everything. However, you still indicated that this was an enchantment. It was basically an illusion, a conjured, construct crafted from ether, created by Admittance. And upon investigating the city, we discovered that it was also populated with conjured people as well that seemed to be reliving the final days, the final period of time before, their civilization was destroyed and, Zodiark was summoned to, save what was left, and then ultimately Hythlodaeus, and then the Sundering, and then everything. So this is basically, what, their world looked like before it was lost. And so upon investigating, we, began to learn about the ancient people's creation magics, which, was as natural to them as breathing, the ability to use ether to essentially create anything they could imagine, as long as they could form a clear concept of it in their minds. And this was something that was instinctual. It was something that an ability they had from birth. So, that's pretty interesting. And in fact, it was this particular ability of theirs that actually ultimately caused the problem, because there was some force that began to arise from within the earth, as described by one of them, that basically seized control of their creation magics and used their various fears and anxieties and everything to basically create monsters and other destructive phenomenon that, was causing all the problems. Which is what eventually led them to summoning Zodiark. So, we've been exploring and kind of learning about all of this. And that's what we're going to continue to work on as we press towards the capital, which is apparently where Admittance is residing. And even that name, Admittance, apparently is a title for one of the positions on the Convocation of 14. There's that number again. That was basically the leadership of their civilization that ultimately, went through with the process of creating Zodiark. So, I've just been working through the side quests, these, several side quests that yield the ether currents, because I feel that they are useful to provide context about the ancient people, the ancients, and kind of what they were like and what they were capable of, that sort of thing. So we are now here in the Bureau of the Architect, and there's a bureau attendant here who has a quest for us. So let's go ahead and grab that and start working through it. The bureau attendant sees regarding you like a lost young child. Yeah, every person here seems to view us as if we are children. Well, considering how large they are, it kind of makes sense. Alright. Alright, greetings and welcome to the Bureau of the Architect. You are in need of assistance? Or are you in need of assistance? It would be my pleasure to answer any questions you might have. To your left is a counter where you may submit registrations for new creations. To your right, you will find the counter where you may requisition concepts on file. Yeah, we've kind of been here for like the last quest we did. Am I correct in assuming you are not familiar with the services we provide? I see. A more detailed explanation is in order then. You understand that by harnessing the powers of creation, we can give physical form to all manner of concepts, yes? Yeah, we've been gathering that. Picture a bouquet of fresh, fragrant flowers, all the colors of the rainbow. Now picture those self-same flowers formed of delicate crystal, impossibly fragile and radiating hues beyond the visual spectrum. Every day our people push the boundaries of imagination to conceive new and striking designs like these. But there are limits to what a single individual can shape with their abilities alone. Those who harbor greater ambitions may offer their concepts to others here, that they might, with the strength of many, accomplish what one cannot. Not all concepts are approved for wider distribution, of course. Dangerous, subversive creations pose a risk to everyone, and so it is only after a comprehensive evaluation, after a concept is judged to further the greater good, that we permit it to be shared with the community. Do you understand, little one? I gotta turn that off. Sometimes I forget. Yeah, I sort of get it. Alright, since you're here, I think you might benefit from conversing with some of the others currently availing themselves of our services. Why don't you go and speak with some of the citizens awaiting their registration to be processed? Much as I would like to believe my explanation was more than sufficient, I expect that you may gain greater insight in this way. Alright then. A kindly Almaratine here has something for us. Hello, little one. So rare it is to see one of your size roaming around here. Come to learn about the Bureau, are we? I'm here today to register a new creation. Boneless and with semi-translucent skin, it drifts through the air like a dancer on a summer breeze. Its tentacles trailing behind, it utilizes gas bladders to propel itself from place to place, you see. I'll admit it's not the most elegant of designs. I'd not shed a tear if it were rejected, quite frankly. But what can I say? I take pleasure in conceiving unorthodox designs. A beginner like you shouldn't take after me, though. If you're looking to pick up a few tips, you should probably ask someone else. That is my number. Is that my number they just called? If you'll excuse me. There are, many creatures that have that type of design. And what you'll find is that some of the stranger creature designs apparently can get traced back to these ancients that originally created them. Alright, are you the child I saw speaking with the attendant earlier? I thought so. So young and already so eager to learn about concepts and creations. That curiosity will serve you well, little one. I've been credited with a few popular concepts, I'm proud to say. I'm hoping that my latest will be equally well received. Autonomous figures. I say my latest, but really it is the product of many others' efforts and individual insights. But such is the case for every masterwork, I reckon. Autonomy notwithstanding, these creations know no fear. They are wholly devoid of emotion, and will without hesitation or resistance engage in any dangerous activity, even if death is assured. There's a beauty in that, I think, and I hope the officials do so as well. I tell you, there is nothing more nerve-wracking and thrilling than the waiting period before you receive the result. I love it and hate it in equal measure. Anyway, that's not all I've got to say about it. If you're still keen to learn more, why not pester that worrywart over yonder? Come to think of it, I think their particular creation was designed to appeal to children. That sounds an awful like, golems or talos. Addled. Amratine. You there, an aspiring creator come to learn about the Bureau and its inner workings, I trust? It is all well and good, but since you're here, perhaps you can help me with a little something. I've been refining a concept of mine for some time now. Adorable little creatures designed to be the perfect plaything for any young citizen. But I'm still terribly unsure if it's ready to be submitted for approval. Which is why I was hoping you might first put it through its paces and tell me what you think. Your honest opinion. I'll have no flattery from you, young lady. This matrix will allow you to summon my creations, but don't use it here. Take it outside first, and don't be afraid to play rough. It's all part of the fun. Play rough, you say? Very well. Alright, so we're gonna take it over here and use the concept matrix. And see what it does. 3 mischievous playthings. Friend. Oh, okay. Yeah. They're not playing nice. Bye-bye. That is intended for children. I think he probably needs to do a little work on it. Alright, let's turn that in. Oh, let me just do this and get rid of the aura. That's the one thing about the warrior I wish would be easier to get rid of, is that aura when you have the gauge going. Alright. How'd you find my lovelies? Were they as delightful and engaging as I hoped? Tell me everything. Spare no details. Well... I say, they spouted nonsensical phrases and attacked you like mad beasts? How distressing, and not at all like what I intended. My sincerest apologies to you, little one, for the unpleasant experience. Still, from these experiences do we grow stronger and wiser. I look forward to the day when you will try your hand at creation, too. Alright. There we go. And we have one more over here in the Hall of Rhetoric. Hopefully I'm going the right way. Yes. And here's a loquacious Amratine. Greetings, little one. Come to debate, and at so young an age. How wonderful. Shall we retire to the benches and settle on a topic? Oh, my apologies for jumping to conclusions. My friends are not quite as fond of the Hall of Rhetoric as I am, so I have a habit of chatting up any potential conversation partners. So if you're not here to debate, I presume you're here to learn about the mysterious and esoteric goings-on here? It would be my pleasure to act as your tutor in these matters, if you will indulge me. The Hall of Rhetoric is, as its name indicates, a place where citizens may freely gather to discuss and debate all manner of topics. This central forum is ideal for open discourse, but smaller rooms are available for those desiring more intimate conversation. Oh, and there is a wealth of reading material concerning rhetorical techniques and history penned by the greatest minds on offer as well. should you wish to refine your techniques through self-study. To my mind, however, rhetoric is a living, breathing thing that is best experienced in the moment of conception and execution. Perhaps a demonstration would best serve to further your education. I saw a contemporary of mine engaged in a lively debate earlier, just outside the hall. Go and see if they are still there, and issue to them my personal invitation to a friendly battle of wits. Alright then. There we go. Amratine Firebrand. That is precisely my point, that their obsession with the so-called mandate to approve only the most beneficial concepts for wider distribution, never mind the ridiculous subjectivity of their criteria, has led the Bureau of the Architect astray from its original purpose. Huh? Have you business with me, child? Regardless, I'm in the middle of a heated discussion with my partner. Come back later. Okay, talk again. No. My position has nothing to do with the intrinsic value of unique identity and whether or not it is retained. Rather, I posit that the reproductions of a given concept are inherently imperfect, and thus they are themselves unique, albeit in minor but significant degrees, and, most importantly, this variance is not to be condemned, but celebrated, rather than to strive in vain for an impossible standard that, even if met, would leave us lesser for the lack of diversity. The Amratines appear to be engrossed in their debate, utterly deaf to you and your pleas for attention. Let's try again. Why, aren't you a stubborn little bugger? It's strangely endearing, I must admit, but we have all the time in the world. Why are you so insistent that I speak with you this very instant? Oh, you're acquainted with that chatterbox? I suppose I do owe them a debate or two, and now is as good an occasion as any. So be it. Alright, so I guess we head back in. Oh, what the... Alright, there we are. Talk to the loquacious Amratine here. I see you found my friend. Thank you, little one. Then, without further ado, let us commence the promised debate. As to the matter of what subject we shall debate today, I propose the recent calamity which has befallen our friends across the pond. What say you? The singular point of contention is, of course, whether or not Amarat should intervene on their behalf. I believe we should. The scale of the disaster which threatens that distant metropolis is of a scale heretofore unseen, and so equally considerable resources must be committed to counteracting its effects. I disagree. The scale concerns me less than the nature of the proposition itself. Who are we to unilaterally intervene in the affairs of those half a world away? Are we to be the saviors of one and all? Such arrogance may well lead to our own downfall. While I understand your concerns from a philosophical standpoint, I fear you are too quick to dismiss practical considerations out of a desire to maintain an unassailable moral authority. But let us, you and I, hold here for the present and offer the floor to our young student. You have heard our opening salvos in this debate concerning the fate of our neighbors across the sea. What is your opinion on the matter? Let's see. To ignore the plight of those we might conceivably save is not wisdom, it is indolence. Sure. Indeed, indeed. The same can be said regardless of one's opinion on the morality of intervention. There is a clear and undeniable benefit to Amarot in using the situation as a test bed for our newest creations, that we might develop and refine our defenses against a potential threat to our own fair city. How readily you cede the moral high ground. Was not our young friend's point that we have an ethical obligation to aid those in need? Yet not only do you instead elect to focus on the benefit to Amarot alone, but you also deprive our distant neighbors of the agency to determine their own fate. You misunderstand me. What benefits Amarot benefits all creation. I firmly believe, for the knowledge and wisdom we stand to gain from intervention can then be shared with others, empowering everyone to more effectively surmount similar trials in the future. And they probably go on arguing forever. Alright, let's go ahead and turn that in. I must say, it has been far too long since I engaged in such a refreshing exchange of ideas. My colleague was equally delighted by the opportunity, you may be assured. Some decry it as little more than an academic exercise. After all, we failed to reach a meaningful consensus, but I dare say they missed the forest for the trees. Are we not more enlightened by the experience? Have we not been exposed to a greater variety of viewpoints? Is there not value in this alone? I truly believe that we are blessed to be part of a society that exalts the free exchange of ideas, and that encourages active participation in the public discourse. This may have been no more than your first foray into the exciting world of rhetoric, but I sense you have the soul of a debater in you. You may well have the potential to change Amarot in ways no one ever thought possible. I shall be watching your trajectory with great interest, my young friend. Interesting. So they do value the free exchange of ideas. All right. And that is an interesting stance, that even if one does not reach a consensus or an agreement, that the debate itself is of benefit. Alright. Well, we're now back on to the main story quest. We need to speak with the administrative clerk because we're trying to get this writ of permission to access the capital. So we are over here at the Bureau of... what is this? Bureau of the Administrator. There we are. Alright, a visitor's writ? Yes, I can assist you. Full name, please. Ayama Yatsurugi. Please wait near the counter while I confirm your details. Alright, I'll just go ahead and wait. Typical bureaucracy. Alright, Ayama Yatsurugi, your application is ready for collection. Alright, As your residency was approved by Emmett Selk himself, further forms of identification will not be required. Thank goodness. Here are your application documents. Submit them at the Bureau of the Secretariat, and the clerk will issue you with a visitor's writ for the capital. yeah, there's nothing worse than trying to get some bit of business done at a government agency and going through all the waiting in line and then only to get to the point to find out that you're missing a piece of documentation they need. Or that the piece of documentation you thought would satisfy their requirements doesn't. Alright, so here we are at the Bureau of the Secretariat. Okay, there's the clerk. Too far away. Next, please. Okay, here's my application. Visiting the capital, are we? Please take a seat. Your name will be called once your application has been processed. Oh no. This is an all too familiar feeling. Alright, I guess we'll just have to take a seat and wait for our number. May I? Ah, yes, this cutscene. This is a lot of important info that's coming here. Alright, you, I think, are from a time beyond ours. Have you followed in the wake of Emmett Selk? Nay, there is no cause for alarm. I am simply a shade, here and not here. I know only that my name is Hythlodaeus, and that this city is a recreation, a phantom moment plucked from the well of history. So this one knows what's going on. These others seem unaware of their pale existence, but I wonder if Emmett Selk's mind was distracted when it came to my reconstitution. A stray thought would have been enough. Hythlodaeus will realize the truth, for example. We were close friends once, you see. Yet, in spite of my perception, I play the same role as all the rest. A bit part, meant to bring color and noise to this well-crafted stage. Too much scrutiny and we shall burst like the fragile bubbles we are. Thus I tell you again, my presence is not to concern you. I wish only to share your company whilst we wait. If you've come this far, then you know of the catastrophe which awaits us on our morrow. The final days. What began as as isolated incidents soon swelled into a world-spanning threat. The Convocation of 14, well, it was 13 at the time, endeavored to create a will for our star. They would repair the fundamental laws of order and halt the spread of destruction. But creation on such a scale required an immense source of power. Of those of us who still lived, nearly half offered up their lives in the name of salvation. And from their sacrifice, Zodiark was born, just as we had hoped. He reached forth and halted the march of oblivion. Yet oh, how the star had suffered. So many species lost, the land was blighted, the waters poisoned, and even the wind had ceased to blow. Once more did our people give of themselves to Zodiark. Another half of our race sacrificed to cleanse the world, to ensure that trees and grasses and myriad tiny lives would sprout and grow and flourish. The cycle of life had begun anew, and we reconsidered the means by which we might protect it. The Convocation decided thus. We would nurture our world until it was bursting with vitality. Then, when the time was right, we would offer some portion of its living energy to Zodiark. In return, he would restore to us those brethren whose souls had fed his strength, and together we would resume our role as stewards. There were, however, those who disagreed with this plan. They argued that enough had been sacrificed to Zodiark, that this new world should belong to the lives newly born. These dissidents surrendered their life energies in the creation of Hythlodaeus, an incarnation of their opposing belief. And for the first time in history, our people stood divided. Know you then how this conflict ended? Yup. I thought you might. Eorzea has ever been a champion for the will of Zodiark. The original plan may have been set back by millennia, but he will have not abandoned his course. He will pay the price for our return by whatever means is necessary. And though he may carry himself with a certain glib ease, Eorzea is not a man to bear his burdens lightly. In fact, I imagine they have only grown heavier with every passing century. 'Tis truly a terrible weight he has chosen to carry. Ayame Yatsurugi. Looks like it's our turn. It seems your turn has come. Pray do not let me keep you. Ah, there was one last thing. You walk with another at your side, yes? Nay, I see no definite form, just the faintest suggestion of a second soul. I doubt it visible to anyone but me. So Hythlodaeus here can sense Ardbert. A little bit. Otherwise, I assume only you can see and hear this ethereal companion. Yeah? Your connection is hardly a coincidence. In our time, the two of you were one. The color of your souls tells the tale. A hue that distinctive cannot be mistaken, no matter how thin the soul is spread. Ha! This is just the kind of fate I might expect for one such as she. Surely Emetzelk has recognized the hint of her in you. Ayame Yatsurugi. Fare you well, my new old friend. May you find what it is you seek. So that's a bit of a bombshell there. That apparently our soul is one of the ancients. Or at least belonged to one of them. And that it was split, sundered across all 13 shards. And Ardbert is the version of us in the first. One of our own reflections. And that raises a whole bunch of questions. Because Hythlodaeus referred to us as his new old friend. So apparently, we all knew each other and were friends back in the day. Including Emetzelk and the others, which means that our character, or at least the ancient individual whom our soul once belonged, was on the Convocation. Or maybe not, because he said that the Convocation was only 13 at the time. And we are Hydaelyn's champion. So, we would assume that that individual was among those that summoned Hydaelyn. So, kind of a lot to unpack and think about there. Alright, well, let's go ahead and turn this in. Alright, your visitor's writ as requested. When you wish to gain admittance to the capital, simply present the document to the attendant within. There we go. Got what we needed. And now we know why we can see Ardbert and nobody else can. Because we're essentially the same person. And we have the Echo, which allows the soul and to transition from one body to another, which we've seen before. Alright, well, here's everybody. Let's go ahead and talk to Thancred. Finally, you were gone so long I was on the verge of mounting a rescue party. How fared you in your bureaucratic ventures? Well, we got the writ we needed. Ah, I see my instincts were correct. And a good thing, too. Eorzea and I weighed our chances of breaking into the capital, and an official entrance is by far the more attractive option. The capital boasteth not a single armed sentry. It would seem that in their time they did not deem it needful to post guards. The windows and doors, however, appear heavily warded. Though mightily did we strive, with strength mundane and magical, we failed to budge them even a fraction of one ilm. Mayhap 'twas simply the case that Emitzelk's recreation did not extend to their usual function. We didn't try everything, of course, but we thought it best to conserve our time and energy for more pressing matters. Speaking of which, Reed and I tried asking about a cure for you. Problem is, these ancients didn't exist beyond Amarot's today. They will happily tell their own tales, but whenever we attempted to explain our situation, the conversation quickly became muddled. What of you, Ayame? Was aught worthy of interest said during your efforts to obtain a writ? Oh, you can only imagine. A great sacrifice of life in exchange for their brethren's resurrection? And you say that all Ascian's scheming has been leading to this? All this time. But if they still mean to enact this plan, then things won't end with the rejoining. Aye, I thought we knew their intentions in full. Restore the world to its former glory, and in turn empower Zodiark to reclaim his throne as the will of the star. Yet that was merely a step along the way. I hesitate to put it into words, but we have to assume that following the final rejoining, the Ascians mean to draw on the lives of the Source to make their sacrifice to Zodiark. That does seem the most likely scenario. Mayhap those who ally with the Ascians would be spared that fate. But what value is there in surviving when all our history, all our struggles will be erased? I cannot conscience such an act. Of course not. And that's to say naught of what Emitzelk plans for the Exarch's power. Do we stand by and let him threaten our future as well as our past? We need to find him, Ayame, and when we do, make your mark. Change the course of history in a way that's felt by those who came before and those who came after. By everyone you've ever met. Change things that even my other self, dying somewhere in that future calamity, will smile and say, I knew you would win. Is fighting Emmett Selk the only way? He created an entire city. He'll take everything we have to defeat him, if we even can. And if you push that hard in your current state, the light will break free. The decision to press on lies with you, just as it lies with each and every one of us. Alright, there we are. I'll be taking that one. And that actually grants us the ability to fly. Alright, Alice. Alright, do you remember that walk we had, or that talk we had atop the tower in Mordsuk? I am still the same mind now as I was then. I don't abandon you, and you don't abandon me, and together we make a difference in this fight. There's always hope if we look for it. I saw it again and again as you tore those veils of light from the sky. If we keep taking that next step forward, there's a chance we'll find a way to save you. No matter how long it takes or how much it hurts, you can count on me to keep on walking. Alright, looks like we're having our conversations with everybody here. Alright, Alphino. Vothri spoke of the disaster we would bring upon our own heads, the ceaseless conflict. Imagine how he would sneer to see what's become of the first, not to mention your perilous predicament. And yet who can deny the fire your deeds have ignited in people's hearts? You achieved what my logic and ideals never could, uniting disparate peoples under the banner of hope and common purpose. Without you, that giant Talos would never have raised its head. I have borne witness to many such miracles at your side, and would do so again. This is but another obstacle in the road. So come, let us travel it. Drag me through wonder and danger as you are wont to do, and I shall endeavor not to slow you down. Alright, Eorzea. As well thou knowest, if we are to usher Emmett Selk unto his rest, we must needs bind his Ascian soul, and then shatter it with overwhelming force. The former task requireth Auracite, and such I have prepared, upon the Exarch's asking no less, though 'twas never mine intent to provide said boon. The future whence our noble friend doth hail is a world fallen to Ascian artifice, and he would not see such grim history repeated. In a sense, Emmett Selk's destruction will be the culmination of the Exarch's efforts, a reward for all he hath endured these many years. Yet even as thou stridest into the jaws of peril, forget not but that his fondest wish, and that of many others besides, is to see thee survive unto the morrow. 'Tis in pursuit of that happiest of outcomes that I do pledge to remain at thy side. Alright, Hythlodaeus. Our time in the First has been a never-ending succession of trials, as arduous as our path in the Source ever was. Yet through all our journeys together, through that deep and foreboding wood, you have helped me stay true to my convictions. Thus would I return the favor. Do as your heart decrees, without hesitation or regret, and that is all I will say on the matter. Alright, and then Thancred. Well, this has put everyone in a solemn mood, hasn't it? Honestly, we're not even sure this will be the end of it. But I suppose we should speak our minds when we have the opportunity. You taught me that much in Amareng. So forgive me this moment of sentiment, Ayame. By dragging me into this sorry mess, you've given me a chance to think and act as I should have, for Reen's sake. Words cannot express how much this has changed my life, or how grateful I am for your support. So I shall express my gratitude through action instead. No matter where you decide to go, I will be there, guarding your back. Alright, and newest member of the team, Reen. When Minfilia entrusted me with her power, she warned me that no matter how strong you become, you can still fall victim to despair. You can still feel powerless. And she was right. After you collapsed on Mount Gulg, my hands wouldn't stop shaking. If I made a mistake, if I failed to bind the light within you, I was terrified you would die. Even now, you could be moments from turning, and I wouldn't know how to save you. You, Thancred, the others, you've all been there when I needed help. Minfilia surrendered her life to me, her legacy. I should be ready to do the same for you, and I want to, I do, but I'm not good enough. She told me to follow your example, and I've tried. I've really tried. Then you shouldn't hang your head. I shouldn't? Fate can be cruel, but a smile better suits a hero. Words of Haurchefant. I'm not sure Actually, never mind. I think I'll understand better if I try it for myself. No, nothing will come of brooding here in self-pity. I made my decision, Ayame. I'm going with you. Alright. We're heading into the capital. And there's the attendant. Welcome to the capital. All visitors must present an official writ of permission before admittance will be granted. And I have it. Your documents appear to be in order. You may proceed to the capital, but any guests you may choose to bring with you must remain in your vicinity at all times.
This really is unacceptable. I gave you very specific instructions.
Emmett Selk.
My invitation was for an abomination, ripe with the power to bring about the world's annihilation. Not this half-broken thing. Whatever am I to do with you? And I see you insist on keeping the same familiar company. Are you so lost without them?
It is not she who is lost without the familiar. Not content with remaking an entire city, you aim to fill it with the reconstituted souls of the dead.
I may have gotten a little carried away in my attention to detail. Added a few unnecessary flourishes. Well, there's no point trying to hide it. Yes. Once the rejoining of worlds is complete, Zodiac will regain his full strength and shatter his prison. Then we shall offer up the Source's remaining inhabitants in sacrifice, that we might resurrect our brethren who died to bring Zodiac into existence. But what was it that you came here to do exactly?
What did I come here to do? I came here to ram a giant axe to your chest.
Did you now? One last do-or-die attempt to foil my plans before your mind dissolves into madness? How very, very heroic of you. In every single age, there is always someone who wants to stand up to the evil Ascians. Always the same arrogance, the same insistence that the world belongs to them, as if theirs were the only rightful claim, theirs the only existence worthy of preservation. Even now, after everything, you refuse to see reason. You think it unfair that you are subject to suffering? That your lives will be sacrificed for the ancients? Look at me! I have lived 1,000 of your lives. I have broken bread with you. Fought with you, grown ill, grown old, sired children, and yes, welcomed death's sweet embrace. For eons have I measured your worth and found you wanting. Too weak and feeble-minded to serve as stewards of any star. Have your recent spats with Vorthri and his sin-eaters taught you nothing? Have you not learned that your ignorance and frailty beget only endless misery? How long do you mean to perpetuate this farce? How much more must I endure your bumbling interference? Let us imagine that the laws of reality are again undone, and the world faces true annihilation. Do you honestly believe that half your number would sacrifice themselves to save the other? Of course they wouldn't! And if you had witnessed history unfold as I have, you would reach the same conclusion. You cannot be entrusted with our legacy. I will bring back our brethren, our friends, our loved ones. The world belongs to us, and us alone.
Emmet Selk! We understand, truly, but it makes no difference. The ones you love are in the past, while ours are here in the present. One day, we too will be ashes and dust, but not today. Our time is not yet finished. We share your conviction, and that is why we will not abandon our course.
You think us the same? You think your tattered soul of equal worth to those I lost? Then come. Earn your place. Prove yourselves worthy to inherit this star. was the end of our era and the beginning of our great work. A fitting backdrop for your final judgment. I shall wait within, but do not spend too much time on your preparations. There's no telling how much longer the guest of honor will last.
Alright, Amarant now accessible. Emmett Selk gets his Sephiroth moment. Alright, so we have a dungeon to run, and then a trial to do immediately afterwards. But we are out of time for today. We've already actually run fairly long at this point. So, we will work on that for next episode. So, with that, we'll stop here, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you next time.